Today I'm going to talk about taking responsibility for where you're at in your life. Take responsibility for it. You cannot blame people for where you're at and things that has happened, okay? Now, it does not make, let's say things have happened to you in a relationship, a friendship, just a situation, a business deal, a venture that you took part in, and let's say that that individual did you wrong, whether it was in the relationship or friendship, or you got, you lost money, someone jilted you out of a lot of funds that you invested in this business. I'm not saying that that person is not held accountable for what they have done, but you have to just look at yourself, because a lot of times, sometimes when you get jilted in a business deal or things like that, somewhere along the line, a lot of times those individuals may have either you didn't do you went by word of mouth that someone said, or you didn't do complete research, you just jumped on an opportunity, and you trusted a person, and regardless of maybe your own misgivings, right? And then in relationships, sometimes there are things that happen that we overlook or we forgive but continue in the friendship or the relationship, and then you get jacked up. But it always falls down to the common denominator of you. You have to look at the choices that you made, because more than likely when those things happen to you, it's not just one big surprise. What happened is it just crescendoed to its worst possible scenario. But before it gets to that point, most of the times, there are exceptions, but most of the times you've been getting little jolts or little warnings or red flag of things that was not right. I'm going to give you an example. When I was, the bottom line is I had to make the change. I had to make the decision to make the change, or if I'm going to stay here. So I'm going to give you an example. Years ago, I think I was like in my early 20s. I've always been a person that, I put myself together. So I was away in the military, and there were some females that I would hang out with, right? We would go out, we're going out to the club, wherever I was going to go. And I just could dress myself. I dressed myself really nice, put myself together. And I had a friend that it just seemed like she just always would just have this type of nasty type of attitude, and I didn't understand why. Well, long story short, it eventually came out that, she felt like, oh, I'm always dressing up, trying to be seen, trying to be the showstopper and all of this. And I'm like, what? I had no idea she's feeling this way. So what I started to do was tone down my dressing to make her feel better, I guess. And I want to say, before she came out and said that to me, I sort of started peep game and try to, I was figuring out, yeah, that was what it was. Because I remember before she came all out like that, I remember just putting myself together this particular day. I was in the barracks. And I remember putting myself together this day, and I was getting ready to just, I've always been just know how to put myself together. And I remember just scaling back on what I was going to put on, because I didn't want her to feel comfortable. And then she finally came out and said that, and as fiery as I was, because she was my friend, I didn't, power up on her and go super saiyan on her, you know what I mean? So I thought, okay, I could change. But what I was doing was making myself unhappy to make her feel better about herself. And eventually I was like, man, please, I went back to who I was. I put myself together. Because I'm not trying to be a showstopper, trying to make anyone feel better, but this is who I am. And so I just, went back to being who I was. And, that friendship eventually fizzled out. But the thing was, when I got with people what, you know, other females that didn't have issues because they themselves were dressing up and putting themselves together. It wasn't an issue. You know, nobody was jealous of anybody. We complimented one another. It wasn't an issue, okay? I'm giving you this scenario for a greater, you know, there's a reason to all of this. When I got with people who had like the same type, they were the same way financially, then I didn't have much issues when I was going out. If I wanted to buy something, I go somewhere, go shopping, and I can buy this thing, but this person can't buy it. So then they looking mad or whatever, or expect that I'm gonna buy them something, you know. So, but when you go with other people's on the same level as you are, then what happens is you can buy this stuff and not feel self-conscious about it, you know. And so, but what happened, the bottom line is I had to make that decision that I'm not gonna let you keep me from getting what I would like to get, or what I have earned in my life, or what I'm gonna pass it in the store because I want you to feel a certain type of way. So the bottom line is we are the ones that make those decisions. Regardless of what people do, you're the one that decide whether or not you're gonna allow that person to have that type of power in your life, okay? And it's the same thing in relationships. We can look at people, relationships that we've been in, and the person did you wrong or whatever, but the bottom line is there had to have been some red flags. It's never like one big surprise, very rarely is it, but you choose whether you're going to stay in that relationship. You choose whether you're going to ignore those red flags. You choose whether or not you're going to keep forgiving somebody to the point that you become, you know, wretched and rancid because you're being hurt so much. So, you know, a lot of times when that happens, yes, that person did what they did, but the bigger thing is you allowed it, right? Because you stayed there when you saw what the person was about. You stayed in that friendship when you know that that person is jealous of you, and they verbalized out of their mouth. They've shown you. You see how one-sided the friendship is. You heard God telling you not to do something, not to go somewhere, not to take part of this business venture. He showed you this person's true color, whether it was intimate relationship or platonic, and you stayed anyway. So then the result of it, you got to realize you are the common denominator in your success or your downfall. You understand that? Stop downplaying yourself. So there are three messages here. Stop downplaying yourself for other people, because other people don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They can't get whatever. And I'm not saying that you need to just choose people that's on the same social stats, the same level financially, because I'm not like that. But what I'm saying to you is don't let people pull you down, whether it's family or friends, pull you down and make you feel like you're downplaying yourself, you're scaling back because, oh, you don't want to make this person feel uncomfortable. Don't continue to be in relationships that's unhealthy to you, because you're going to change. Your love, your loyalty as a friend is not going to change the heart of a person who has a void inside of them that has been, you know, just this black voided hole before you came along. You understand? You can't fix people. So that's just the thing. You have got to take responsibility for yourself, your actions. You see that this person, you may have forgiven them, and then you're at the same scenario with them. This person is supposed to be a friend, and you see issues where you're faced with situations where this person seems to have something against you and put you on blast. Then you have responsibility to adjust to what is best for you. Stop conforming to people. Stop trying to be what people expect you to be. Don't ignore the red flags that the Lord will send you. Pay attention to it. Act accordingly. A lot of times you adjust yourself for someone to the point it's to your own damage. You become damaged because you're hurting and you are being the receptacle to receive everything, and they can't, you, when it comes to you trying to offset some of those feelings and trying to, you know, have someone that can hold you up, you don't have it, because everyone is just pouring, you know, dumping on you. So you have to pay attention to those things. God will always show you, whether it's friendships, deep intimate relationships, business, He's going to show you what it is, and then you are going to have to make a decision to follow what he's shown you, because you are the common denominator in your own happiness by following Christ or not. All right, guys, hope this makes sense.